played, well, you only had 4 games with Subiaco before the Richmond came and chased you, is that right?
No, my old man was worked for Nestle in those days, and he was transferred to Melbourne. I was going to school. I was only 16. So, no, I had no thought of coming to Melbourne at all. It wasn't a footy decision. It was a family decision. And then in those days, there was the cult of law where, do you remember, I think it was Cole Beard and Sid Jackson and a few of them, they had to stand out for 12 months because you couldn't get a transfer. And because I was going to school, I said, well, he's coming to go to school, not coming to play footy. So they allowed us to transfer. So we, most of the Melbourne clubs, my brother and I, we'd play a little bit of footy in Perth, so they were kind of interested in us. And luckily enough, I chose Richmond, as it turned out. Alan Schwab was very smart. He said to us both, he said, the rest of the team's going to the Gold Coast next week. If you sign, you can come. So he said, we're coming. Very easy to get.
Yeah, always something at the end. That's good. That's good. And so you had a great career as a player, played in premierships, and I've sort of jumped because you're now with Richmond, and you saw what Richmond was like a successful side back then, and you've seen what Richmond's like a successful side now. But in between, there was ups and downs and turmoil and all that. What's the big thing you see in Richmond now that's made them? And I want to go back to a couple other teams. Yeah. But what's the big thing you see? Because I've read parts of that. Very hard for me to read a Richmond book, but I've read Yellow and Black. But what's the big part you've seen? Because obviously you've had something to do with it too. But what have you seen?
Well, I think I feel as though Richmond's almost the ultimate team in a way. Like, people genuinely buy in. There's an enormous effort to collaborate and to help each other and to work with each other, which I know everyone says that in footy, but it's a lot harder to do than you reckon. I mean, and a lot of it is just that subjugation of ego. Like, if you haven't got a big ego, we don't want you at our club in a way. Like, if you, Simon, didn't have a big ego, you're not a very good player. So you've got to have a strong ego. You've got to believe in yourself. You've got to expect a lot out of yourself. But the control of that and putting it in the right way to help the team and help the club is the biggest challenge we've got. And I think we do that as well as anyone ever has. And that's from all the way, from Peggy to Brendan to the senior players to the coach. And it's very hard to do, and it's very hard to get that in one place. Unfortunately, up to now, over the last couple of years, we have had it. And it was funny, if you look back at the Richmond story, between 67 and 82, they were premiers 5 times and top 4 10 times. But between 82 and 89, they were useless, dead and buried, couldn't play, had no money, and were going to go out of business. And it was ridiculously easy for that to happen to a club. But I think they lost, in my view, and I was in Adelaide at the time, but I felt that they lost respect for the individual within it and the person. They demanded absolute loyalty from everyone, but didn't give any back almost. Yeah. Which was in there, striving to win. Don't worry about him, we'll get someone else. And they finished up losing a lot of their very good players and their very committed players. And then all of a sudden, they just fell away to nothing. It was awful. And I think that was what it was. We forgot how important the individual was within it. So you've got to do that first. And then once you've got that, then everyone does commit to the organisation. Then you're very strong. But if you don't respect the individual on the way, it's not going to happen. Yeah.